Welcome to another episode of the Leo Climaco podcast. We are back with Concho Henrio. We are doing round two, this time in Florida. Concho, thank you so much for being here. We've already started. We've already got the conversation going, but I wanted to officially do the intro to introduce who you are.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm back, and I got to tell you, I'm so happy to be back.
We're so happy you're back
with you. And I'm happy to be here in Florida, and visit your wonderful, wonderful studio. It's gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And when I look, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew that it had to be grand because everything you do is grand, is upscale, is
Thank you.
really professional.
I tried my best.
But when I came in and I saw it, I was really, really impressed. You've done an incredible job. Listen, if anybody wants to do any podcast, any interview, you need rental space for videos, for interviewing, even for coaching on how to do your next project. I'm telling you, this is the place to be. I've been to a few of them. I've got to tell you, I am so impressed with what you do and the services that you offer. I'm going to come back again. I'm going to use this as a perfect reason why I have to come to Florida.
I love that. It's a little escape from your winter wonderland.
Oh, please don't talk to me about that. My God, I wish I could show you a picture of the outside of my house.
Man.
It snow about 1.5, 2 stories high. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. But it's a winter wonderland. When you're inside looking at it, or even when you're outside and you're enjoying the scenery, it's really quite magical.
From the window.
Yeah, from the window. Yeah. And when it's snowing, it's not so bad.
It's not, yeah.
But it's after the snow that it gets cold.
Yes. And the ice freezes.
Yeah. After the snow, the weather invariably is much colder, and then you have to deal with the inclement weather that comes as a result of that. Yeah.
I remember in New York, it snowed, and then it froze, and then you saw dog pee all over the snow. And you had to be careful with the yellow snow, right? Don't go near the yellow snow.
They provided a track of where you should walk,
exactly.
Right?
So interesting. Well, Concho, welcome to Florida. We are so happy that you're here. I really can't wait to see all the content that we produce for you. I can't wait to put that out in the world and share it with the world and see the reaction that we get from it. It's going to be incredible.
Well, I had asked you about that, right? How the podcast went. And I was really quite surprised. I think you had mentioned that there were over 11,000 views.
Yes.
Also, I don't know what it is now, but at the time, that was the number. And I said, wait a minute. I was getting 400 views, 300 views, 200 views, and 11,000 views. This is incredible. So I don't know how you did it, but
you must be
worked.
An interesting guy.
But I'm telling you, it was quite impressive, and the opportunity to do it again, I couldn't miss it.
I'm so happy you're here.
Well, so before we get any further,
Okay.
I gotta publicly thank you for last night. We went out to eat.
We did.
We went to this lovely restaurant.
We had a great time.
I ate to the point that I got sick, but it was good. I enjoyed the sickness. It was really, really lovely, and had a chance to not only sample or flavor of the food in the area, but we got a chance for us to talk
Yes.
Out of business context and just
really have
share
a great conversation.
Some of our mutual interest.
Yes.
So it was great. Thanks. Had a great time. It's fantastic being here.
I was actually telling my wife last night that when I was younger, when I was 12, 13, when I used to work at the gym, slash karate place where we used to train, I would always see you sometimes. I'd be working during the morning shift, right? And you'd be there having lunch, talking to somebody, right? And I've always wanted to have like a deep conversation with you. I've always wanted to have like a one-to-one with you, but I was too young, right? I was just way too young, and it just wouldn't be feasible. So I'm really happy that at my age that I am now, we were able to have that really great dinner conversation. It was incredible.
Well, there was a lot of insight on your part also. I say this candidly. I picked up a lot from what you told me. And, it's a great thing where the master now is proud to learn from his protege. And really, it was a wonderful conversation. I got a lot of insight and information that I'm going to be taking away with me
I'm glad to hear
I
that.
leave Florida. And I'm glad that it was a mutually interesting
Oh, yes.
and mentally stimulating conversation that we had.
100%. There's no way it can't be. I mean, I just think your level of knowledge, your level of experience, your level of discipline, there's no way that it can't be an incredible conversation.
I'd like to believe that I have the ability to convey some of the thinking that I have. That it's not just that I think them, but I can actually share that, and that I can express them
Right.
in an intelligent way, in a way that people are going to capture the essence of what I'm saying. And if that happened, then really that's really great. That's great, because I was thinking, you have what's called practical intelligence and analytical intelligence. And it might be compared to being book smart and street smart,
Right.
the yin and the yang of things, right? So I used to tell people, if I'm in a situation, especially in the street, I don't want the guy with the book smarts. I want the guy with the street smarts.
For sure.
Because the book smart will give me that viewpoint and tell me, okay, based on this situation, this is the analysis.
Right.
My analytical intelligence. And then if I'm the street, the guy's going to say, yeah, this is what the book says, but this is the reality, my friend.
Correct.
This is where you go. But the best case scenario, in my view, is where you can merge the two. Where you can merge the practical with the analytical. And that's where you get the most. That's where you can extract the best of course of action to take, or the best of a particular situation.
Yeah.
So both are needed. You have to have the practical, but you have to also have the analytical. The analytical is important, and the practical is based so much on live experience.
Yes.
What you're doing day to day with everybody. The analytical comes with being able to take a step back and say, okay, what's the theory behind that? What's the template
Yes.
that's said behind that? But from the template, you got to adjust it.
Right.
And that's where the analytical comes.
That reminds me of Mike Tyson. He famously said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
It's that is so true.
So true.
Every plan works well.
Yes.
And I tell you,
In theory.
It all sounds great. And then, you go back to survival mode.
Yes.
Say, oops, that's not what I thought.
That theory didn't go as planned.
Now let's get to the practical.
Exactly. Speaking of that, what do you think were some pivotal moments in your life that set you on a path to success?
I'd have to say, there were several. There were several. The first, I think, was I had the great opportunity to travel to different places when I was young, and because of that, it really opened my eyes to different people, different cultures, different lifestyles, different customs. That
That's
was an
very powerful.
incredible
Yeah.
experience because it taught me at a very early age that regardless of where I went, I was a kid, I made friends, and I could be friends with anybody. And it didn't matter the language, the culture, the race, the ethnicity, the religion. It never, ever entered my mind. And because of that, I never believed that I was closed to anything. I never believed that there was a door that I couldn't open. It just wasn't in my experience. So those early experiences were pivotal for me. They were critical because there was no myopic view of my world. My world was really huge.
Especially back then,
Yeah.
because the world wasn't as connected as it is
wasn't
today.
as connected. So those opportunities were, to this day, I have to say, they were the most crucial in my entire life because that was where I think the basic idea of opening doors came to me. Because there were no doors to open. Everything was there.
Right.
So the second time, I think, when I was probably around 11 when I started work. And I started working at an early age when most of the kids, or almost all the kids, were not working. So
Was that by choice?
a friend of mine was doing a paper route, and he said, look, you want to help me with a paper route? And at the time, you delivered papers from door to door. And
Where were you living?
in Montreal.
Montreal.
And in those days also, it snowed almost every day. Every week you had snow, and there were snowbanks year high. And we used a small wagon, like I think it was Charlie Brown that had a
Yes,
little wagon.
yes.
So we had that, and that's where we went and got the papers in the morning. We pulled all the papers on the wagon, and we did our route. And soon he asked me if I could take over the route, and he would give me a little something. And I said, sure, why not? And I realized he was probably embarrassed to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I think I had the inkling after a few weeks that he was probably embarrassed to do it.
Interesting.
But I wasn't. I didn't care.
I thought he was trying to be an entrepreneur.
Well, both. He was a slick guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying
He figured he's going to take me to work for him.
Right.
But also, even to collect, he asked me to collect. And I felt he was embarrassed to go out because sometimes his parents would ask him to run errands. And he would ask me to come with him. He was like,
A little timid.
yeah. But I didn't have that problem. And that opened my eyes to work, to earning an income and having a little money in my pocket and having money that I earned.
Right.
It also showed me exactly what you said. Here's this guy, he's working, getting money from me. So if he's using me so that he can collect, I mean, why can't I do that?
Right.
And why can't I now upscale that? So yeah, I'm not gonna get one route. I'm gonna go around, ask the guy, where does he need people? Where is in a route? He's gonna tell me. And then I'm gonna go to different places, see how I can do that. So I'd go to a few schools in that area and ask people if they were interested. And invariably, you got a kid who wanted to earn a little money.
Of course.
So I did 3 or 4 of them like that.
Wow.
And that's how I started with the idea that, you know what, you know, I can earn a little something on my own, but I have to use my head also to
Right.
do that, because I'm not going to do it sitting on a bench in school.
No.
So that's how I got really to put the practical with the analytical. And that's how I appreciated his street smart, the initial guy who solicited me,
Yeah.
my friend. The third time that was really pivotal in my life was the birth of my son. I was in a band, I was rocking, man. You know, it
You play
was
guitar?
the 60s. Yeah, I played the guitar. I played very badly, but I learned how to play. And interesting enough, that same friend, he was really good at guitar playing, and he could play by ear. Oh my God, I so envied him. And he came and he would teach me. So I would go to his place and we'd sit down. He'd teach me the chords, the notes, and we'd play. We'd try to harmonize, or he'd come to my place. And
Very cool.
He lived right next door. So it was an easy fit. And then we met another kid who was interested in playing bass. He lived like 3 doors down.
No.
Yeah. So it was all of us on the same block.
That's awesome.
On the same block. My one friend right next door, the other one 3 doors down. So it was so easy. And then somehow some kid who lived like another 4 houses down, but on the street perpendicular to ours, right perpendicular to where we were, found out this was taking place. He was interested in playing rhythm and said, why not? Now we got our rhythm player.
Look at that.
Same area. And then I had another friend from school that I met. To this day, he's my best friend, interested in playing drums. So we're all in the same block, same area,
Wow.
same town. It was such an easy fit. And it was easy for us to get together.
What was
And
the band
so-
called?
The Wild Ones.
The Wild Ones.
And we were wild. So it was really an interesting, easy fit. We started playing, and I was in a band. I loved it. Being on stage to this day remain my best experience. But when my son was born, I remember the first time that I took him, I placed him next to me in bed. I woke up and I turned to look at him, and he was already up. And he was looking at me with his eyes wide open. And I looked into his eyes, and that changed everything. I kept looking at him, and he kept looking at me. And really, I was mesmerized by his look, by him, and I was...
I know the feeling
I
well.
remember at that point in time, I said, okay, Henry, I don't believe music is your calling. You may be good at it, you may be enjoying it, but you're not that good. You're no Jimi Hendrix, you know. You're not, you're no Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
You know, so let's, what can you do? And I had always wanted to go to medical school. So I said, you know what? This
I
is
can
where
see
I'm
that.
going to go. I'm really going to focus on education because I have to earn a living. I have to provide for a family. So that was pivotal. The third pivotal moment for me was when I started the martial arts, and I had started because I had in mind an issue that I was going to take care of. And I trained. I trained very, very hard. And about 6 months later, I did go back to, because I felt I was ready to deal with the situation. I had taken some time in boxing. I had taken a better judo. I went back to judo after that. I had taken some wrestling. I was taking karate. I really felt that I had gained a lot, and I was in a totally different mindset and physical state. And I went and I took care of that situation. But there was an interesting thing that took place. I went there and I knew, you know what, I'm gonna be the man. And after I took care of the situation, I walked away. I actually didn't feel that good. I remember, like, later on in the day, I actually felt, why did I really have to do that?
Was he bullying you?
Oh, yeah. That was a guy who had bullied me, and I swore I would get back to him. I mean, at the time I couldn't. It was an older cousin who went in. Actually, my best friend's brother, who was like a huge guy, he's like 6'3", 6'4", he was huge. And he knew everybody in the area, went and said, look, lay off this guy. But I never felt comfortable that somebody was protecting me, fighting my battle.
Right.
It didn't sit well with me at all. And so I knew I had to take care of it myself. So I didn't feel good after that. And so some of the lessons that I was learning were playing in my head. And the thing is that I was fighting with the guy there, but that wasn't my enemy. I was the one that I was fighting with.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I was fighting with my insecurities. I was fighting with my ego that had to be satisfied.
Right.
My pride that I had to say, you know what, not on this day. So it's really, that thing to this day stays with me because it taught me a lesson that I had to temper and
What a great
channel
lesson.
what I was learning in the right direction.
Revenge is not the answer.
But that demon came to visit me at the dojo one day. I was in class and I was talking, and a student interrupted me and said something almost counter. Okay. And it was, an older student, a black belt, and I said, okay.
Was it in a combative form?
I took it. I'm talking. What are you talking? What are you talking about? Okay. So, I know how he's done in our style in Kyokushin, right?
Yes.
So, I line everybody up, Now the fighting time. So now I'm fighting too. And we're going down the block. And I made sure that, I position it so that, we're the last ones. So now he's in front of me. And like right away, he backs. So he's backing away, he said. So after like the third time, and because he's not engaging, he looked at me. And he said, I know what you're trying to do, Shion. That's not the way. Oh my God.
Oh my God. What a moment.
Honestly, like, it shamed me. To this day, it like really affects me. It's not the way. I never forgot it. And he was right. I looked at him and I just bowed us. Line up, everybody.
Wow.
And from there, it was a process to end class. That moment was really critical for me because it also taught me you can lose your way. That pride, that ego, that it can come back to really put you in a different state of mind. So when your ego comes out there, when your pride surfaces, think twice. Doesn't mean you don't need to, the time is not going to come where you don't have a choice.
Right.
But it does mean that maybe reflect on it, use it at the right moment.
Did you lose him as a student?
No. In fact, I respected him much more. And I think he realized that right away because I think he could tell in my look that, and how I just bowed to him, that I understood. I did. I was wrong. And he taught me a lesson that stays with me to this day and that will stay with me forever. And
I know what you're doing, and this is not the way.
yeah,
Wow.
I know what you're trying to do.
I know what you're
It's
trying to
not the way.
do.
So I was going to knock him out. He was right. Now, I took him, as a matter of fact, to teach. I took him, put him in charge of like whatever we had to do with weaponry because he was good with that. And unfortunately, he passed away. He's not with us. But he taught me one of the most valuable lessons in my life not to forget. So I remembered what I had told myself many, many years back on the encounter where I had to take care of that bully. Those were pivotal moments because they were not lessons on the dojo floor. They were lessons of life.
Right.
And that's really what karate is all about. Karate is, people do the punching, the kicking, and they teach people to do, beautiful flips and, do flip-flops and this and that and, acrobatics. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
As a physical beauty, physical prowess, it's great to see. It's great to teach. But those really, those are. I call this the artificial aspect of karate.
Right.
The real aspect of karate is inner, is inside of you. It's not outside of you. The outside can reflect the inside. So when you're breaking, when you're doing these demonstrations, it's more inwardly.
Yes.
Very often, though, we limit ourselves to that outward exposure, to that outward expression. But the real expression is inward. So you work so that you can develop yourself inwardly, and that people don't see.
No, they don't. They only see what we show them, right?
Yeah, yeah. So how can we now merge the two?
It's called martial arts for a reason, right?
Yeah. You merge them really because there's got to be an understanding that the true strength is inward. Outwardly, you can portray or demonstrate a certain prowess, but inwardly is where you have to demonstrate to yourself your strength. So it's always about what it is that what it is that you are improving inwardly, how strong you are inwardly, how you commit to yourself inwardly, the discipline that you instill inwardly, the character that you build inwardly. It's always that, it all comes from inward, and then it portrays outside.
To that point, why do you think we live in a society where so many people are searching for external factors, external pleasures, external fulfillment, and not really turning in and really expecting it to come from outside?
The first thing is that I got to keep up with Jones, right? Okay, I mean, if they've got the best car, I got to try to get the best car. If they've got this shoe, I got to get the shoe. If I got 3 pairs of pants, I got to get 4 pair of pants. I got to keep with the Joneses. I got to keep with the guy next door. Somehow, that gives us a level of stature. It's because people are also judging us
Right.
by what we have. So if we have a Mercedes, right? Oh, I have a Mercedes. You only have a Civic, right? It's telling, I'm going to tell you a little story on that comes to mind. So I was driving a Mercedes, right? And then what happened is, I don't know, I think for some reason I didn't have it for some period. I think I was waiting for the next one or something. I didn't have it. But in any event, in the interim, my daughter had a Civic, and she was going to purchase another car. And I said, I'll drive it, So as a matter of fact, no, I had bought her the Civic, and she was getting another car. So I took the Civic, and now I started driving it. So at work, I would have a spot, and so I would park my car there. So then I came with the Civic and parked it there, right? So after the second or third day, there's a worker who said, because I was doing some work in Canada, and they said, maybe he should go back to the States. He doesn't seem to be doing too well. Look at what he's driving, right? So he said,
People love to judge.
Yeah. I was being judged by that Civic. So, I mean, I cracked up when I heard that, but I did the exact reverse. Where I was gonna get rid of it or exchange it.
Right.
I told the guy, no, I'm not picking up the car for another few months. Please keep it for me. No, you gotta pay. I said, I'm not. It's either that or I don't get it, but I'm not ready for it. So I kept driving that car for about 3 or 4 months more because I wanted to,
prove a point.
It brought me pleasure that she was thinking that. I'll never forget it. So in any event, people judge you by that.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to be judged, as you're having a problem. You don't want to give that image. So you go to the other extreme. You even put yourself in debt not to give that impression. So
I've been there.
yeah. So it's, I mean, a lot of us were going with that because, we don't want to give that image.
Yeah.
It's also because it's easier. It's easier to work on and get material things than it is to work on improving who you are inside.
On your traumas.
That's the most difficult thing. The bad habits are hard to work out, and so I call it the enemy. The enemy inside us is hard. It's much harder to conquer the enemy within than it is the enemy without on the exterior.
And I think we all forget that that's our purpose here.
Yeah.
It's not to obtain stuff. It's to evolve and deal and heal.
Yeah. Look, when you look at the majority of people, and that's one of the trouble things of our times, that it's so much me, and portraying the image of me being this great guy, this amazing individual, and demonstrating, making sure that people notice us. The great danger with that is that there are so many of us who are in that mode, because it makes it that much more difficult now to look to improve on that inner aspect. So the enemy within, we've got to conquer.
Yes.
A lot of people, a lot of individuals, very successful people, very affluent people, when they're young and they're growing and they're getting their success, they're making that money, they're all in. And then there comes a point in their lives when they say, what am I doing? What is my purpose? They ask themselves that question, what is my meaning in life? For me, they invariably turn to philanthropy. They turn to a cause. How can I help? But truly help. Not help because I want a tax break.
Right.
Where can I contribute?
Where can I be of service?
And they look to contribute to human causes.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that. Because they're dealing with the enemy within, and they're finding out that, you know what, I'm in a place where I've conquered a lot of that. And I'm searching for more as to what is my meaning, my real purpose. My real purpose can't be to have 3 or 4 cars. It can't be to have a house here, a mansion there, a chalet.
Right.
Where am I finding fulfillment? And so they're finding out that all these assets are not giving me that fulfillment.
No.
And they're finding fulfillment in human causes, in philanthropy, in helping others. So, invariably, I believe, we go towards that. So we may not be able to do it at the grandiose level that some people do it, but we'll give $2 to the guy on the street,
Yeah.
or we'll go get them a sandwich. We'll go to church and we'll put $5 and light a candle.
And feel better about ourselves.
Yeah. And we'll pray. And we hope that that $5, it's not, 10 million that or a million that guy is giving, but you know what? I can contribute that. I can help with that, and I can pray for others. I can pray for me too.
Yeah.
So we tend to go there. Down the road, we look inwardly so that we could better contribute and find a better purpose as to what the meaning of life is all about. I used to have a caption on my desk, and I had it for the longest time. It said, to give life a meaning, one must have a purpose larger than oneself.
Facts.
To give life meaning, one must have a purpose larger than oneself. And if that mantra is kept, then you kind of find your way, because you got to look for purpose larger than yourself. And if you're looking for that purpose, guess what? It comes. But it can't be just, getting the nice. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it, huh?
Right.
Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with wanting to stay, at the best place or.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But that can't be the purpose of your life.
Right.
That is not giving meaning to your life. You can use these things to help you gain meaning. But that's not the meaning of what life is all about, or the purpose of what life is about.
Concho, what did Henry find when he looked in? What is Henry's purpose in life?
Oh, I found a guy that could be really Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in the sense that I tried to ask myself, when I went and after I took care of that bully, right? So after these years, I trained these years, what kind of person does that?
A methodical one.
You're not letting. This is done. It's gone.
Right.
Why are you
In the past.
revisiting it?
Right.
Why are you revisiting it? You see, I was so deeply hurt and humiliated.
Yeah.
I couldn't let it go.
Did you gain the respect you wanted after doing it? Because others heard about it, right?
For sure, he and the little group that was there knew, hey, okay, we're going to touch him. And that was okay. But again, after that immediate moment, oh yeah, I felt. But again, I remember distinctly later on that evening, early evening, I remember it kind of, I was sitting on the steps of the stoops of my house, and I didn't feel what I thought I would feel. The image kept going on my head. The crack,
Because the
is
roles
that
reversed
what
a
I
little bit,
wanted?
right?
Yeah. Is that what I really wanted?
Right.
And it came to me to say, look, maybe I could have, I did, but no, it's not. It took care of the immediate need. The thing that I knew I had in my mind that I had to do,
Right.
to take care of it, I did. Now what? Okay, what's the next step? I had to put that behind me. But I'll tell you, years later, maybe 10 years, 12 years later, we were stopping at a light, and there were these 5 guys on a corner. They started hurling insults at me and my 2 cousins.
Oh, I've heard this story before.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, my cousin was the one sitting in front of me, turned to me, and he just looked at me, and I looked at him, and he said, "That's it. That's all. That's all." So we're at the corner, right? And they were standing, and I just turned, parked the car at the corner, and got out, and that was it. The whole thing unraveled. And so I mention it because you don't know when that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, okay, you want it? Okay, you're dealing with the wrong people tonight.
Was that fun?
It was. Yeah, you know, it was him and me looking at us, and we just nodded. We didn't say a word. We just nodded, smiled, and we knew, you know, we're going to get it on. So we got out, and we took care of business, right? And when everything was over, it's like the third guy, my cousin, we said, "What happened to you?" Because he was just by the car looking. He said, "Well, you guys were handling the situation so well. I was admiring it. It was like a movie." He said, "Well, I was just admiring it. I wish I could have filmed it." I said, "Okay." And we continued our way. So you don't know when that demon is going to come out. But it wasn't in terms of like really hurting. It was like, we're going to have some fun.
Right.
And the fun just turned out to be, you know, it was fun.
Do you know what I love about that story? You can't do that today.
No, oh my God.
Because today everyone's armed, right? People take things to a whole new level. I think back then, people understood. Let's squabble this out. Let's deal with this.
Yeah.
And it'll be that. You know, fist, nothing else. No animosity after, okay, you beat me, I won, we're done, let's go.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I got to tell you, we didn't know. Because they carry knives and all that. New York.
Yeah.
But it was a moment where we said, we don't care. You know, we're going to take care of business. We don't care. And again, it's like, you know, I say you never get involved unless you don't expect the worst to happen to you.
Right.
And at that moment, I said, we're going to have some fun, but we're going to go where we got to take it. We knew we were going to take it where it had to go. Now, we're glad that it worked out well. I wouldn't recommend doing it nowadays at all. And I wouldn't even do it. There's more maturity.
Yeah, for sure.
There's more of an understanding that, look, you can't let stupidity and nonsense unravel who you are. It was, again, a little bit of a demon coming out. So, to your point, now there's more maturity. Now I'm more tempered. Now the teachings, all those teachings, have put me in a place where I can hold that demon back, and I can say, look, put yourself in check. And all the philosophy, all the lessons that I've learned have brought me to a place where the Henry that could have developed these things and now use them in a way that's not so Catholic, can channel them in a better direction, in a proper direction.
When you said you can now hold that demon back, that brought me to something I've heard before that says, if the devil knocks on your door, invite him in and lead him.
Yeah.
Don't let him lead you.
Yeah.
You invite him in, but you lead him.
That's powerful. Man.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's so true.
Yeah.
And those demons, we all have them, huh?
Yeah.
And they come in different shapes. They come in different forms.
Mm-hmm.
They can be in the form of human, in the form of material things, in the form of envy, jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in different forms. And you got to be careful of that because it's present every single day. And it will come out throughout the day. That's why it's a constant battle that you have to really ground yourself. You have to center who you are. Centering who you are and ground yourself is critical. Again, it comes to character building.
Yes.
Right? It comes to character building. It comes with the notion that if you start thinking that you're the best thing since apple pie, you can lose yourself. And the dichotomy of it is that if you want to get to a certain level, you got to have that kind of ego,
Yes.
you know. I mean, I don't believe you can get into the ring and not have an ego.
No.
Because you got to tell yourself, yeah, that out of the two, you're the conqueror.
I can do this. Yeah.
Or else, now you don't need to step into the ring.
Yeah.
And life is stepping into the ring. Now, the difference is this. The difference, you can step into the ring from the beginning. You start cursing at the guy, telling him off, pushing him, insulting him and his entire family, entourage. At the end of the match, yeah, I'm the best. This person, was nothing. I beat him again. Or you can go inside and show the person respect, and when you finish, hold the person's hand up with you. Those are two different scenarios, you see. Two different people, two different character. Perhaps one of the better UFC fighters ever is Georges St. Pierre, right? For his weight category, his class,
He's Kyokushin, right?
Kyokushin. Respect from beginning to end. George McGregor says who George McGregor is.
Yes.
Now, it has nothing to do with abilities, with skill.
Correct.
It has to do with character.
Yes.
It has to do with who you are. So you have two people good at what they do.
Yeah.
Character.
Completely different.
Yeah. Now, who are you going to really want to hang out with? If you had to introduce someone to your family, now they're both taken, but if they weren't, who would you want to introduce as for your daughter to bring as a possible suitor?
Definitely not Connor.
Do you understand?
Yeah, of course.
So, character is important. Now, when he steps into the ring, do both believe they can conquer? Absolutely. Do both have an ego that tells them,
Absolutely.
I can do it. I can beat this guy. I am better. My skills will lead to that. I'm challenging myself. I'm challenging yourself to be better. And to me, that's where that difference comes in, So eventually, you're looking at at character building.
Which is so important.
It comes back to that. I like to say that the road, respect, courtesy, discipline or diligence. Respect, courtesy, diligence, the cornerstone to humanity.
Yes.
Now, you throw in discipline and you've got all that you need for a noble society. If we want to grow as a community, as a society, as a human race, then respect and courtesy are paramount. The level, some of the great things that are so disheartening nowadays is the level of disrespect, the lack of courtesy that you see in public forums.
Yes.
And that's displayed openly. And that seems to be acceptable.
It's
in
now the
many
norm.
circles.
Yeah.
It's hard to wrap your head around that. Especially I think from someone from my generation, right?
Yes.
It's hard to wrap your head around the idea that this level of rudeness is acceptable, and this way of talking.
And encouraged.
Yeah, this way of talking is, so prevalent. And that should not be the case, My daughter, I remember, was bringing some friends over. And so she was meeting with my nieces, my cousins, her cousins, my nieces, so that they could so that they could come, and all right, not her cousins, her stepsisters. I'm sorry, her cousins. Yeah, and she said, "Look," the cousin said to one of the boyfriends, who apparently swears, says, "Look, when you come, whatever you do, you can't be talking like that with him." So he told her, "That's how I talk. I mean, I'm not going to change how I talk for anybody." And so I didn't know that, right? So he comes over and he was talking blah, blah, blah. And then my daughter came to me and said, "Dad, I'm so surprised you didn't say anything." I said, "What do you mean?" So-and-so was, cursing. I said, "Cursing? What are you talking about? Who?" "So-and-so." I said, "No, I didn't hear it." I said, "I didn't hear it." Because had I heard it, I absolutely would have addressed it. But here they are at their age, they never heard me curse. And they know they can't bring anybody in the house and have them curse. And to this day, there isn't a person that my daughter associates with, guy, girl, who's ever come in and cursed. Just not acceptable.
I love her level of respect for you.
Oh, I tell you, no. There are some things that are known in the household that are simply unacceptable. But that starts young.
Yeah.
That starts young.
Yeah.
I'll tell you an incredible lesson that my mom gave me, okay? This one was like, here it is, I'm driving with my mom, and I'm driving down the boulevard, Queens Boulevard. And on the boulevard, you've got trees, and they are majestic trees, old trees. And they've bloomed beautifully.
I'm guessing you're by Forest Hills.
It was by Forest Hills, and I was coming down and that boulevard, going like towards Regal Park, and so the Elmhurst area, and we get to an area where they were planting new trees. So the workers were there, and they had put down a few of them further beyond, and we had gotten to one of the sections where they were planting them. And so as we were driving, I commented, "Oh, they're planting new trees." I said, "Oh, look at how nice they are, how beautiful they are." And the trees, you could see them. There were maybe, I don't know, a dozen and a half to 2 dozen. You could see, and they were straight. I mean, they were beautiful. They were aligned straight, right? And so on that side, they were putting them up. And I said, oh my God, look at how straight they are. It's beautiful. And then I looked to the side, and on the other side, you still had the big oak trees, right? And so my mother, okay, she had to be maybe at the time 95, 96.
Wow.
She says, Henry, look at those trees. They're so straight, the new ones. Said, you see those, how crooked they are? The education of a child is done when they're young, not when they're old. Your daughter, when you're young, that you make sure she has all of the values instilled in her. Don't wait till she's a teenager or old. I never forgot that
Yes, mama.
because nature tells you the truth.
Yes.
Kyokushin tells you the truth.
Yes. The ultimate truth.
Yeah. Discipline in life deserves warrants a physical catharsis. You have to go through some kind of physical catharsis so that you can elevate yourself to the next level. If you look at priests, if you look at monks, if you look at anyone who's aspiring to be excellent at anything, anybody in sports who is looking to be the best, they go through almost extreme discipline and diligence in getting to that level.
Yes.
Same
is
thing
that-
with karate.
Yes.
Yeah, if you really want to get there, extreme discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's going through some physical transformation, physical catharsis. The bodybuilder who wants to get to that next level, he's got to go through some physical catharsis.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do that in order to get to the next level. The difference is, are you doing it just from that level, or are you incorporating in that not only a state of mental fortitude, but spiritual elevation? Now, the ultimate is when you're merging them with some spiritual element where you understand that it's not just about your physical state, but your internal state. So that's how you get to improve your mental state. Your mental state is what sets you apart now. Your mindset is important. So if you're looking at mindset, if you're looking at how do you transform, you got to go through some kind of catharsis. Part of that catharsis involves some physical element in it.
What would you suggest for a young adult, a teenager, 18, 19, 17, trying to figure out discipline, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out where they are? What type of roadmap would you suggest they take?
I think the most difficult thing is for a teenager to inculcate those kinds, the discipline that's needed, especially nowadays. Because it's not that they don't have discipline. I see it every day, every single day. I mean, that kid is gonna stay in front of that computer for like hours.
Mm-hmm.
They can do it for hours. That takes discipline. Now,
That's a good point.
it may be the kind of discipline that you're thinking you don't want,
Right.
but that takes discipline. I couldn't do it. I'd go nuts. So we each have our way of uh, putting out a certain kind of discipline. The person who stays in front of the TV 4 or 5 hours, that's a discipline. But is that the kind of discipline that's going to be fruitful?
Right.
In other words, you're sitting there, you're really not thinking. You got everything coming in. Or you're appreciating the fact that it's not mentally stimulating. Or you're appreciating the fact that that kind of dexterity, you could channel it in a different way. So if you're so involved in playing games, would you be apt to seeing how you can develop those games? If there were a game for you to develop, how could you do it? What would be, show me the design, what would you like? How would we start designing that? Now, do we have the manpower to take kids and engage them in that kind of a direction? So education could help tremendously in that. But do we have classrooms? Do we have teachers or program that could engage
Right.
kids in that? In other words, do we have kids who are coming in who could maybe be aligned based on some interests that they have, and based on that interest, lead them into a learning format that can really tap into their interests, their talent, things that they're already coming equipped with.
To your point, real quick, they did a study on surgeons, people who do surgery, and doctors who do surgery who played video games are 37% better at their job. To your point.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Not surprising. They have the dexterity.
Yes.
They also have the patience. They
Yep.
have the visual to follow things.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
So it's not that they don't have the disciplines. How do you channel that discipline?
Exactly. For good.
The other way, so education, teachers, people who guide those students can play a major role. Sport is another avenue where you can instill great discipline. Look, instead of teaching kids, even I know that young kids now, especially primary school students, 6, 7, 10, 12, even teenage students, 17, 18, you play, you're in the team, you get a trophy. What did you do to get the trophy? Nothing. You were in the team. In other words, you showed up, so you're good.
Yeah.
That is such a poor message to give under the guise of, oh, so he doesn't feel bad. Guess what? Life is going to make you feel bad. That's the reality of life. Life is not going to cuddle you, make you
Correct.
feel good. If anything, life is going to stomp on you. How's that person going to cope? That child cannot cope. The idea that just because you show up, you get something, to me, is ludicrous. I don't subscribe to that at all. You're doing more harm to the child
Yes.
than you are good. Now, does that mean that the kid is not good? Absolutely not. And that's where the coach comes in. Instead of the coach bad-mouthing the kid, saying you're not good, or saying, oh, well, they're not fair for not giving you a trophy. For not, bring the kid from point A to point B. Give them measurable objectives to attain. When they attain it, reward them. Now you're getting a kid who's going to go from point B to point C, point D. Point A gets something for nothing. It's not going to get to point B. Oh, I don't have to, what? I can just come and be sloppy and get it. So I had a guy who came in to work, right? And well, how come I'm not getting promoted? I did a good job. I said, yeah, and but I did a good job. I was asked to do this, and I did it. I said, wait a minute. Are you telling me that if you didn't show up, I shouldn't pay you? But you showed up, I should pay you. I thought that when you showed up, it was to do a good job. You didn't show up to do a bad job. I mean, that's not what you're getting paid for.
Right.
The notion that is that I show up, I got to get paid. It's the same idea of the kid who comes at 17, 18 and now wants a trophy because he showed up. No, you have to do a little more than showing up. Now, that's why schooling is so important. That's why parents are so important. But I've seen parents on the field, they're fighting so their kid can get that little medal.
Yeah.
Going nuts when the kid can't do anything. Zero. But the kid gets the medal. The parent is raising. Oh, fantastic. We take a picture. To me, look, makes a parent happy.
Right.
But they're not teaching the kid anything.
24 years ago, you lived by what you're saying right now. 24 years ago was my black belt promotion. The 24 years, yeah, it was 2001, 24 years ago. And one person didn't get their black belt. I don't know if you remember.
I don't remember who.
It was Chris.
Yes.
Because he didn't do
Yes.
well in his katas.
Yes, I remember. My God, and he was so good. He did well in everything else. I
Yes.
remember now very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we remember joking after because we really thought that, like, do you remember going back to Mercedes for a second? Remember you let him drive your Mercedes?
Yes.
And he dinked it? So we had a joke after that was on purpose because you didn't pass him for his black belt.
Now I understand how. Now I understand.
So you are true to your word in what you're saying. Because 24 years ago, you did exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
And you coached him and you taught him how to do his katas properly. And eventually he got his black belt.
Yeah. So you have to lead the person there.
Yes.
And it's not because they're not good, it's not because they can't do it. And somehow also, I felt, you as a teacher, you have to own it. You see, I go with the precept, listen, I taught for many years, but I go with the precept if a student doesn't understand, learn, or do something, what did I not do
Right.
to lead them there? So I would invariably take students who, let's say they had an issue with a few questions or whatever, and I would teach them individually in groups and bring them to that. The rate of success was incredible. I mean, I had kids who everybody gave up on, everybody in the school. They loved me. They did well because they're bright. But you give up on them. And I don't mean you, but I mean,
Right.
there's a tendency to give up on them.
Yeah.
I couldn't give up on Chris. He was too good a student.
Oh, yeah.
His mindset was too strong, too pure, and he was too young
Right.
to allow him to believe that he couldn't do it.
But I think what you did for him was really good because he didn't care about katas. He didn't understand their purpose. He was very, I want to fight.
Yeah, he was a fighter.
I
Chris
wanna
was a fighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you taught him the importance of the katas.
Yeah.
Right? It's going back to the martial arts part of it, right? Going back to the internal. I think kata is very meditational because you are there. It's you against you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Look, your personality also comes out in a kata.
Yes.
You know, if, for example, you do, you can do a move in different ways. So if I were to come and I were to do a move, right? So if I do a move, right? And it's different.
Huge difference.
If I, you know,
Yes.
it's different. This is different. The move,
There's life to it.
your personality comes out. Who
Yeah.
you are comes out. Your understanding of what you're doing comes out. The purpose of what you're doing comes out. So, discipline, to your point, is discipline. There are many ways in which you can bring that out. It's not that you can't bring it out, it's that we fail to take advantage of how we can do that.
Oh, yeah.
And the opportunities that are in front of us that the person is giving us in order to take them to the next level. But if you're really looking as a teacher, as a mentor, it's your obligation to find that and to bring them to that level. Look, I remember the car incident because we were at the event, right?
We were at summer
And-
camp.
At summer camp.
Yeah.
And the area to park, there was maybe, at least, I'd say 8 car lengths
Yeah.
between one side of the parking
I remember. It's huge.
and the other side of the parking. At least 8,
We were in the
not 10
Poconos, I
cars.
believe.
We were in the Poconos.
Yes.
And wait, possibly, but we're anyway. It'll come to me. But anyway, it was that kind of a difference, right?
Yeah.
Huge. In my head, I could to this day, I don't understand how we ended up backing up, hitting the other side. I don't understand. To this day, it's a mystery. It's got to be, and it will remain, the greatest accidental car accident in my life.
Yes.
I will never understand it.
Yes.
But leave it to Leo and Mustafa to, bring the good news to me.
I should have been driving.
But you remember
joking,
when they
yes.
told me,
Yes.
when I cracked up.
Yes.
Because to me, it was like the funniest thing. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah. And I think the funniest part about it was that, I'm not sure if you remember, we told you after that it took him 6 times to get his license. I love you, Chris.
Oh, man. Yeah, we love you. We love you. We love you, Chris. Don't you know? We're not talking bad about you.
Not at all. Just good memories.
It's all with love, It's all with love. Well, talking about black belt, there's a gentleman you had the fight with. We were just speaking this afternoon, and in fact, we'll be together this week, and we're going to make sure we spend some time together. He's a fighter also. Oh, my God. And he's hot-tempered. Oh, my God.
You talking about Reynolds?
Yeah. He's hot-tempered.
Give him my love.
Yeah. But
And Rebecca
an amazing
also.
guy. Yo, he's my brother. He's my brother. Yeah. And so we'll be spending some time together. So I figured I'd come here and try to kill as many birds as possible.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember him, but Michel Millien.
Yes.
Well, it's his birthday coming up, and in fact, they're having a little something, and it's his 70th birthday. Make sure this doesn't come out before tomorrow because
It will not.
It's supposed to be a surprise.
It will
All
not.
right.
It will not.
So we're gonna surprise him tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna
That's
be a
very
nice
cool.
event.
Yes. Great gathering. Concho, what legacy do you hope to leave behind? If today, God forbid, was your last day on earth, what would you want to be remembered by?
Look, family is very important to me. Now, here it is. I'm going to answer your question, but I got to preface it because when I say that, people are going to say, wait a minute, how can family be, you're divorced 2-3 times, you got,
Stuff happens.
3 sets of kids. I mean, what do you mean? It brings me back to a thinking that, listen, it's precisely because I had these experiences that I'm qualified to talk. Because I've seen all sides. I've seen more than one side, so I'm more qualified than others on the matter. And it goes back really to how I grew up. I grew up, my mother, father never, always married, never divorced. The nuclear family had to stay stable. So that was with me from young. And so when I grew up, my idea initially always was one marriage, and that's for life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, things happen, right? But we can control some of those things. I believe that the person I am then is not the person I am now. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot. But through all of that, right, at every single gathering, family gathering, everybody in the family is invited. That is, my ex-wives are invited. All my kids must be there, and they are there. It doesn't matter what happens if there's a difference of opinion. It can never break that bond. That because we knew one another once, and we can't be enemies.
Right.
We can have differences, but we can't be enemies.
No.
And our children have to remain the most important assets in our lives, the most important people in our lives. And the fusion of the family is so very important. And to me, I continue working every day so that can be the case, So the answer is that I was a good father, that I was a good family man, that I did right by people, that I was caring, I was loving. I did try to help my brother. And by brother, I mean humanity. So to me, that's the legacy. And it's not any material entity.
No.
That's not important.
It all stays.
But these other things can stay. These other things are important. These other things will remain. And if in the process I can impart knowledge, some of the things that I learned, then that's good. Now, you tell me, what would you hope your legacy to be?
My legacy. Something very similar. That I was a good father, that I was a good husband, that I was a good son, that I was a good human being for humanity, that I helped and served others, that I was able to get out of my own way and see other people and really be able to take my ego, my pride, my wants, and my needs and put them aside and really be of service. Because for a long time, Concho, I was all about me. All about me. It was me, 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 me. I don't know if you know this, but I went through a rough patch in life. While I was training, from about 17 to about 22, 21, 22, I was heavy on drugs. I don't know if you know this.
Well. Now I know why there was a twinkle in your eye. No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Yes.
No, I never knew that.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting.
I was heavy on drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd, doing the wrong thing. I split from Chris Mustafa and that group. I removed myself for about 4 years from them. Yeah. Because literally it was clear I was going this way, they were going that way. And my parents got to a point where they really thought that I'd be either dead or in jail. That's where I was going. I was going to be another Latin statistic, you know, of someone being, of an immigrant coming to America and ending up in jail. And I eventually had my coming to Jesus moment where, long story short, things occurred. A friend of mine took my car and crashed it. And it was this whole thing that woke me up and brought me back to life. I met good people in my life. Actually, through the gym, I met people there who helped me and rescued me and helped me get clean and took me out of the world that I was in and showed me a new way. So for a long time, I was very angry. I was very confused, very lost, felt worthless, felt very insecure. And these drugs and these people made me feel something, gave me a little bit of worthiness at that point in my life. Years of therapy later, I've come to the realization that in a weird way, that kind of helped me gain my self-worth, but I took it overboard and went too deep into it, right? So I had to really learn to be human again because I was in a mental space where I was better than everybody and I was above. I went from feeling worthless to feeling like Superman. You know? My ego went from having no ego to having the largest ego. There was no middle for me. And I had to learn. I had to go from one extreme to the other to then come to the middle and figure out where that middle was for me, you know? So I don't want my kids to go through that. I don't want...
Interesting.
I want this lesson to be served generationally, right? Like I went through it, you don't have to, you know? So back to your question, my legacy, I want it to be one that he's someone who was human, who had flaws, learned his flaws, and learned to make them his friend.
The guy who led the demon.
Exactly. The guy who led the demon. Because for a long time, I was scared of that demon. Very, very scared. Very, very scared. And in the beginning of my marriage, I shifted that drug energy into women. And I began being unfaithful. And that led to some more problems, some more, you know. So I really went from one extreme to the other, went through a ton of life lessons, And today, I'm just thankful my wife never left me. I'm really thankful that she stood by me and that she recognized the potential in me and was able to, one, help me, and one, stick around to see it through the end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the better angel in you, right?
Yes.
And we all need that.
Yes.
We all need that angel that's going to come to our salvation,
Oh, yeah.
that's going to come and take us out of the rut. And, someone once asked me, look, what's the most important decision you can make in your life, right? And my answer was the person you marry. The most important decision you can make.
I agree.
Because with the right person, you have the right things happening. But again, sometimes we know that is the case, and then we falter.
Yes.
In your case, that could be, that could have been resolved. In other cases, it can't.
Mm-hmm.
And when it can't, it cannot. However, I believe that very often, more often than not, it is possible simply because those things were there before.
Right.
But we stray and we don't know how to get back. We don't know how. And then as time passes, it becomes more and more difficult, almost impossible to do so.
Correct.
But you're one of the fortunate ones because
Yes.
if that can happen, then it's a good thing. And the relationship becomes stronger
Oh, yes.
when you go through hardships.
Yes.
I really believe that.
It does.
When you go through hardships and you resolve them, it really fortifies the relationship. So, I remember seeing situations where you'd hear people where there were issues, and oftentimes it was unfaithfulness, and then, well, how can you stay with her? How can you stay with him? And you kind of, I step back and I say, wait, leave them alone.
Right.
They're working it out.
Exactly.
I mean, what is the problem? What's
Right.
how could you not want it to work out? Why are you encouraging this? Leave them alone. Let them work it
Yes.
out. And if you work through that patch, it just solidifies it and makes the relationship more bonding.
Correct.
So it's if you're fortunate to be able to go through that, good for you, good for her, and good for you. She's to
Yes.
be complimented. So
She's an incredible person.
as they say, right, behind every great man, there's a great woman.
That's right.
She's the great woman, the better angel in you, and
She really is. She's my rock.
she helped you bring in that. She helped you lead that
Yeah.
devil.
100%. She helped me realize that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's okay to need help. I was stuck for a long time.
But why do you think you stray? Was there any particular event that did that? Was it just that the surroundings were so captivating, were so enticing that you had to try it, you had to belong? That was a way of belonging.
All the above.
Oh, yeah.
All the above. I was lost. I was confused. I was curious. I wanted to explore the world. I've always had this thing where I've always wanted to understand both sides, right? So my mom's black, my dad's white, both Brazilian, but I've always been in the middle. And I've always wanted to understand both sides. It began there, this whole black and white thing, and that transferred to other things in life, good and bad and whatever and whatnot. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to explore.
And they make get so difficult sometimes. Huh?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you something. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like I wanted to do more than what my environment at the time had allowed me to do.
So I was going to say, and I'm glad you said that because it leads exactly to what I was going to say, which is I believe that me having traveled so much really, really helped me because it never gave me a sense of questioning where I belong until 1968, 69, right? I walk into my very last year, 6 months of high school, which I did here.
Here in Florida?
Here in, I'm sorry.
In New York.
In New York. So 1968, if I'm not mistaken. I walk into the gym. So first of all, it's like a regular like U.S. gym. Like basketball gym,
Right.
To me, it was huge. We didn't have gyms like that in my school. It was huge. And now, the door is right at the center of the gym.
Right.
At the, of
Yes.
that line. So I'm at the door. I walk in, and I'm right there. There's nothing in front of me. I look to my right, all white. I look to my left. All black. Holy crap. What the hell do I do? Now, for the first time in my life, I came into a situation where was this separation.
Yes.
I'd never experienced that. I'd just come from Canada. And in Canada, at the time, especially where I live.
So you're describing basically segregation.
Yeah, I was the only minority there. I mean, there was nobody who looked at. Everybody was Caucasian.
Wow.
And I had plenty of friends. Nobody ever said, "Oh, you're not Caucasian. You're black. You're brown. You're this."
Right.
It was. So I never, it never dawned on me. But it was this whole thing about racial segregation, about Martin Luther King and all that, and it hit me. It hit me. And I remember I said, I don't want any part of this. This is wrong.
Yes.
I walked straight to the middle. I sat on the bench. Yeah. I didn't sit. I stood up, as a matter of fact. A few seconds, I observed. Is what I'm seeing really what I'm seeing? And I sat down. And I made up my mind on that day, I'll never, ever be a part of any of this.
Yes.
I don't care. I'm not going with blacks. I'm not going with whites. I'm not into this thing. This is like crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened is now the guy, the gym teacher, noticed that. He says, no, you can go anywhere. I said, I'm fine where I am. He said, okay, go here. He put me with a white group. I said, no, I'm okay. Do you rather go there? I said, no. I said, well, you have to do something.
You gotta pick a side.
Yeah, I said, you dare to do something. And I remember I said, no, I don't. I said, I'm not doing this. I said, I'm not doing this. I mean, I got to pick a side. I said, I came to gym. I didn't come to pick. I remember. I said, I came to gym. I didn't come to pick sides.
Wow, what a powerful moment.
Yeah. And he looked at me. And he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, okay. He just said, okay. And then he had them come together. And he said, okay, we're going to play dodgeball. He had asked me, oh, do you play basketball? I said, a bit. Do you play dodgeball? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to play dodgeball. So now, captain from this side and captain from that side, right? He said, but you, and you go on this side. You, and you go on that side. Okay. Now, each one of you have to pick somebody from the other team. So now the groups were mixed, and I was in one of the groups. Now,
What a good coach.
in Canada, I've been playing dodgeball since like I was like 7 years old. Dodgeball is big. Dodgeball is big. And some players are very good. Why? Because of playing hockey, you know, you
The
gotta
wrist, yeah.
the wrist is. So you develop some really strong, powerful throws.
By the way, Canada won last night.
Yeah, I heard. I started watching it, and after 2-2, I said, look, you know, this is getting to me. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why.
That's why I wasn't sleeping. So in any event, man, I started putting people out. And, you know, also you have to be able to catch it.
Right.
So I started putting people out. Bam, 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 bam. And everybody started noticing me. And then one of the guys, he said, okay, next week, guys, we're going to have individual tryouts or individual something. So the individual thing is where a lot of things are done individually. Sit-up, push-ups, rope climbing, pull-ups, all that kind of stuff.
They don't do that anymore in schools, by the way.
Well, let me tell you, he was in my camp. I was doing wrestling, I was doing running, I was doing boxing, I was doing weights. Now you're in my camp.
Yes.
And every morning I was running. I was on the track in
Okay.
Montreal. I was running it. So I started like beating most of the people, including, I remember on one of the relays, I mean, I was the fastest one there.
Wow.
So like I started getting noticed. And then on one of them, there was a guy there. He was really known as like the best overall, the best, and he would like eye me, right, like almost like challenging, and
Studying you.
he could have been black, he could have been white, it didn't matter, but it so happened he was white. But you know, it was just the personality.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I knew this is the guy who's going to challenge me on the individual things. So on everything, like we're coming up there. Both of us were coming up there. And then came rope climbing, right? Now, he was taller than me. He wasn't as tall as you, but he had to be a good 6 feet, easy. And we started with the rope climbing. Man, I climbed that rope in no time. I came down. When I came down, he went to me, gave me a high five, you know. Actually, he
Yeah.
says, man, that's very good, man.
That's
that was
awesome.
Really, very good. We established a bond,
That's awesome.
you know, and so
a competitive one, which is a healthy competitive bond.
a healthy competitive bond.
Yes.
And I gained people's respect. There was one guy on the other side. I don't think he liked the fact that, you know, they're like,
I understand.
So one day,
Yes.
we're on the stairs, and
Like you belong to us.
yeah, I'm coming down, right, and he's coming up. I'm coming down. He's coming up. He moves on my side.
Okay.
He's coming up. I keep coming down, and I stop right there, and he stops, and he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm not moving. Now, he's really ready. I mean, I know he is because I could sense how he was passing me and all that. And he sees I'm not moving. So he knows I'm not going to be a pushover because he had seen my athleticism.
Right.
There's a teacher that's coming down and he says, we're not going to do this. He says, we're not going to do this. And
The
he
same
told
teacher or
me-
different teacher?
A different teacher.
Different teacher.
So he stepped up. He told me to step up. I stepped up. He told him, step down. He stepped down. He says, you go this way. You come here. Not by the railing.
Right.
And me, you come here. Okay, you guys go. And we went. We saw one another again, and he smiled, and I smiled. And I put my hand out. He put his hand out. I said, you're right, man. So I said, I don't know what I was going to get into with you, but you know what? I'm glad we didn't. And we laughed about it. And, you know, it was so my high school where there were things where there were like problems. I didn't have any problems, you know. But you know, when everybody was going out to get ice cream here and one group was going, I never went. I never did because I didn't want to get into that kind of quadrant. You know, I didn't want to get into I'm with this group, I'm with that group. And that wasn't going to define who I was. That was really the issue. And I was very happy with that. But there was another experience I had where it told me that the problem is really more severe than I could have contemplated. That it is real. Everything that I've read, I've seen on TV is real. I went to the subway station, right? So I just come back from Canada. I have my clothes on, and I pay the guy, right? I don't know how much it was. Maybe, I don't know, let's say 25 cents to go in, right? The subway at the time. And I must have given the guy either 5 nickels or a dime and 3 nickels, something like that. But one of the things I gave him was a Canadian coin. Now, I got money in my pocket. I pulled it out. I'm a kid. I give it to him. We're talking, and he looks at me, and he says, "Trying to, what did he? I'm gonna." Trying to pull a fast one, huh? That's not 25 cents. Here. He gave me what he probably thought was a bad coin. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I gave you the wrong." He says, "No, I know you're kind." I looked at him, gave him the money. He gave it to me. I took it. I left. Normally, I mean, I would have said thank you. I mean, just as a reaction. But he so perturbed me. Like, I was asking myself, is what I heard really what I heard? And is he really that person? I mean, is he really thinking that?
Yes.
That I couldn't.
You couldn't possibly have made a mistake.
To say thank you if that was his thinking. And I'm trying to process, is that really? So I left. But when I left and I went through the gate, I realized it is what he's thinking. And I said, what a bad person. I remember that's all I could think. What a small, petty person. I couldn't even bring myself to curse him. I mean, I didn't really curse, you know. I just thought, what a bad person, you know. I mean, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know my background, doesn't know who I came from. The guy's behind a counter, passing. I mean, he'll probably be there all his life, you know, and he doesn't know what kind of place I live in and what my parents. I mean, who is he? You know, I mean, who is he? But then again, I didn't go much further because it was another situation where I wasn't going to let these things define me, but I was going to take all of that information to give me a portrait of the world, this world that I was facing, that really I didn't know, you know? And And I continue to learn. I continue to observe, and to this day, I mean, you continue to see extreme foolishness. And for what? You know, at the end of the day, for what? You know, there's this story. We were having a conversation, and someone told me, "Look, life is." We were watching my sister and me. What's in there? Driving Miss Daisy. So everybody, yeah, I mean, I heard a lot about the movie. And
You have a great memory, by the way. You have a great memory.
Oh, thank you. And my sister was saying, what a moving story. He says, you know, the part that touched me so much is when he looked at him and she says, you're my best friend. So, and I remember she says, you're my best friend. And holds his hand and just sits there, and the movie kind of ends that way. And now at the beginning, if you're watching the movie, like it's down south and it's complete segregation and all that, right? And for it to have such a turnaround, and you saw kind of the turnaround, she wasn't a bad person.
No.
At all. But you could easily think she was a bad person. But then as she got to know the person, she got to know the person for the person, right? And it was like her maid, when her maid passed away. It wasn't just a maid, it was more than that, right? And I recall the story of George Wallace, who was a great segregationist. Segregation now, I think he said segregation forever. And then by the end of his life, he and his caretaker, who happened to be black, became really the closest of friends. They became actually friends. And so
And that's
I don't believe that, look, I think certain ideas have been put in people's heads.
Yes.
And then they don't see anything beyond that. And then when they get to see the person, or they get a chance to see the person in different scenarios, contexts, have conversations,
Yes.
you find out you have more in common
Than not.
than not.
Yeah.
Being close-minded, saying I'm going to stay with my close thinking, I'm going to stay with the way I'm thinking, nobody's going to change my mind, there's nothing that's going to make me see differently, then you don't have a conversation.
No.
You know?
You're just stubborn.
And when that happens, really, you have to accept it.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? You're going to argue, fight? No. You know, you have to accept, because everybody's entitled to their opinion and their thoughts. But I really, really believe, I've seen it again and again, that when there's a possibility to have a conversation and both people start to engage in conversations and accept the fact that, you know, maybe this offends you, so maybe I won't do that. Or this way of doing something is not acceptable. You can't do that. You've got to accept the other person's viewpoint also.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe there's something there, you know? Maybe they are right. And so if you adapt just a bit, it's not going to make it a bad thing. We've covered a lot of territory. How the hell did we get to that subject?
Well, to your point, I wish that as a teenager, I had the understanding that you had. Because I did not have that understanding. To me, I had to pick a side. To me, it was, what am I, white, black, or Latin?
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of my teenage years hanging out with white kids, black kids, and Spanish kids, trying to figure out, where do I fit? Eventually, I came to the realization that I don't need to fit anywhere. I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't need to belong to any one group to define who I am.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I was searching and searching. I even grew my hair. I had dreadlocks. I thought I was Rastafarian.
You figure you're going to cover all the bases.
I painted my nails black. I thought I was gothic.
And at the time, you were goth.
I was. I straightened my hair out. I thought I had a perm, like a pimp or something, like I did some wild things to try to fit into different cliques, and it was just crazy.
You were in search of.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is okay, because it leads you to the way.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes we have to go through these different
Yeah.
things, and we have to go through. Look, I grew my hair. My parents thought I was a lost cause, because I was, in fact, like a hippie. You know, I wore all the hippie clothing, and they said, we've lost this one.
My mother
Really,
said the same thing.
My mother. Yeah, and isn't it funny? It's our
Hysterical.
mothers.
Yes, always
Our
the mothers.
fathers are more, okay, he's crazy.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. Our mothers, they have a knippet. I mean, they lose it.
She'd threaten to cut my hair every day.
Oh my God. I mean, my poor mother, my mother prayed a lot.
Mine
Man,
too.
I saw her praying every day for me, for salvation.
Yes.
What am I, criminal? I don't need salvation. There's nothing wrong with me. I still go to church. I still, what are you talking about?
Speaking of hair,
Uh-huh.
let's just say you have an incredible head of hair. Incredible.
Thank you.
I lost my hair at 28.
Where's all the drugs?
Exactly. Literally. All the abuse I did to myself.
But I'll tell you something. The idea, I'm going to get back to that scenario of picking sides.
Mm-hmm.
When I knew very, very young that I had a direction to go. For example, I knew in 7th grade I was going to become a doctor, right? I had like things that I wanted to do in between, but I knew eventually that's where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
The birth of my son precipitated that road. But I knew young. I also knew young because of the couple of different things that I went through that somebody is not going to tell me who I am, what I am, how strong, how weak I am. And I have the wherewithal to take command of the situation so that I control it, it doesn't control me.
Right.
So this whole journey that I was taking and a couple of the stories I told you were things that when I look back were leading me to the thinking, no, you can control the situation. You can control if you want to have your own route,
Yeah.
newspaper route. You can control if somebody takes advantage or wants to take advantage of you physically and challenges you. You can control if there's a side to it. You can control. You don't let things control you, tell you who you are, where you want to go. Look, everybody I went to school with, I went to college in the 60s. Everybody was doing drugs. Everybody. There wasn't anyone that I associated with that didn't do drugs. I never did it. I wasn't going to let that be the determining factor. We were at parties, hanging out. People were, everybody. When I tell you everybody.
Could imagine.
All over the place. Nah, I was hanging out, dancing, having fun. I didn't need that to have fun. No, it's gonna you're gonna be in a better state. If I'm in any better state, I'm gonna be flying. I'm fine. I don't need that to get high. I'm high on me. So I never knew that. And so when I got to that high school, it was the same thing. I knew I don't need anybody to be who I am. I don't need a group to help. And so it's okay to be different also. I knew that. I wasn't gonna So
Right.
it's okay to go with dreadlocks. That doesn't make me a freak. And if I want to once in a while sample, I'll sample. Doesn't make me a bad person.
Right.
The key is to know who you are, to know
Yes.
that you're not. Look, I had an experience, right? Did I ever tell you the story with my chemistry, the dean of chemistry? I was a chemistry major and I minored in math and physics. So I go to, I got a bad grade in chemistry on the first test. The dean of the chemistry department comes and wants to see me. And now I was the only Caucasian there in the department, student going for med school. Tells me, look, you're great and this and that, and you should think of maybe majoring in something else. Maybe you should go into, we have a good social studies program, or maybe you probably enjoy music. You go into music. We also have a basketball team. As soon as he said basketball, when he said music, I began to be suspicious. What message is he giving me?
Mm-hmm.
When he said basketball,
It clicked.
I knew. I'm 5'7" and a half. I put that half there. Basketball? I mean, is he kidding me? I'm passing by people who play basketball. They're like 6 feet. I go up to their chest. Is he kidding me? I listen to him. I listen patiently and politely. But as he's talking, the message in my head is being reinforced more and more. And I leave there and I say, you know what? There is no way, if ever I was going to change subject matter or my major, now I am absolutely not changing. If they have a double major in chemistry, I'm doing it. I'm going to be in that department. I'm not going anywhere. See, instead of discouraging me, he encouraged me.
Yes.
I wasn't going to let him tell me what I could or could not do, if I could or could not be successful. That wasn't going to depend on him. It's going to depend on me. I'm the one who's going to determine that, nobody else. And so that's basically how I've lived my life. It's the notion, and I encourage everybody to do that. You don't let people determine who you are. And if you're a little different in whatever way,
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be the same.
No.
It's too boring if we're all the same.
That's the beauty of life. Yeah.
Let's be different. Let's honor that difference. Let's promote that difference. And you've got your A game, just bring on your A game. And if there's a way that we can help, I can help with that A game, then why not? But let's do it, and let's do it together. And that's really a thing that I think all of us worry about. We do worry about where do we belong, especially as teenagers, and now as young children. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they're going through this,
Oh, yeah.
who am I thing. And they want to fit, they want to belong, they want to be popular,
And the hormones are helping them go through it at a younger age faster.
A younger age. Kids now, they know things that I learned maybe like 5 years ago. I don't know. My daughter came and asked me about something not that long ago. I don't remember exactly. Not that long ago, maybe 4 months ago. No, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's when this, that. I didn't know that. There was something just yesterday about harvesting, egg harvesting. I said, what? Egg harvesting, Dad? You never heard? I said, I don't know what that is. She had to explain it to me. What the hell? Human trafficking, egg harvesting. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? I didn't know that.
Crazy, right?
I mean,
Mind-boggling.
I learned it at my age. My daughter knows that. So kids know so much more than I ever
Oh
knew.
yeah, the world is so connected. The cell phone, right?
Oh, my
The
God.
computer, social media, all
Yeah,
helps.
yeah. And they're capturing the information quickly and 24/7
Oh yeah,
and through several different mediums. And they're all talking about it. They all know about it.
yes,
Us, if we knew certain things, who do we talk to?
right.
It's not the same thing.
Who's
at
gonna
all.
care?
Yeah.
You know?
And you talk about it, okay, move on to the next subject. Now there's actually discussions on the subject.
Yes,
And so they're
Threads
coming with
and
information
groups.
from different endpoints. And it's a great thing, you know?
yeah. You got Reddit threads, you got Facebook groups, all on topics.
Yeah.
Any topic you want in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So great. It's a great time to live.
Yes, it
You know?
is.
Great period to live. Yeah.
Wait for that to go 1 second.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's my phone. I'm not gonna take it, so you can just hang it up or whatever, or silence it. Thank you so much. Sorry.
No, no worries.
You see, I'm not used to this high level stuff.
Concho, in closing, I do this with every guest. Probably not something that you watch, but are you familiar with the Avengers, Marvel, and superheroes?
Listen, I've heard of it.
Yes.
Before we continue,
Okay.
do you remember a show that was called The Avengers before The Avengers?
I do.
Okay. That Avengers I know.
Got you. Got you.
The current Avengers I don't know.
Got it.
But I've heard of it. I know the series. I know it's a huge,
Huge world.
what do you call a series? Like,
It's
They have- you
there are
use the
multiple
word.
movies. Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
10
yeah.
years of movies.
yeah.
They have phase 1, phase 2,
Yeah.
phase 3.
So they have all these series. And
Yes.
But I've never watched it.
Got it. You probably heard of Thor,
Yes.
the
Yes,
the Norse god.
I heard of Thor because I've seen it like in certain talks they talk about Thor or the bad guy. Or
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. So this is Thor's hammer.
Oh,
Yes. This is Thor's hammer.
wait a minute.
It's called Mjolnir.
Oh, Thor was a good guy who pulled it out and.
Thor, yes.
Oh,
Thor
okay,
is the
okay,
god
okay.
of thunder,
Okay.
son of
okay.
Odin,
All right.
right?
I'm with you so far.
yes, okay.
God of Thunder.
Yes.
I got you.
So in order to hold and lift that hammer, you must be worthy in Norse mythology. So Thor is worthy, therefore he can lift and hold the hammer. Okay? I have this hammer here because I ask all my guests to please pick it up.
Oh, I expected. I was flexing my muscle here. The little that I have, right?
Do me a favor, please. Look at that camera right over there. And please tell the people, what does worthiness mean to you? What does value mean to you? And what would you say to someone who's lacking value and worthiness?
Look, worthiness and value are encapsulated in integrity. So value and worthiness must be reflected in integrity. You got to have integrity. And if you're lacking in that, then you have to work towards it. And work towards it not in the sense that you're going to tell yourself that you're going to be a saint or you're going to overnight become this wondrous avenger, this person, this God that's going to be able to lift and hold the hammer, but one who is going to work towards that and symbolically lift the hammer every single morning when you wake up, knowing that every single day you're working towards the perfection of your character and you're working towards integrity. And if you do that, I promise you, you're going to feel worthy, and you're going to value your life and those around you. By extension, it will mean that you have valued yourself, and you will continue on your way to being one of the great gods.
Us.
Us.
Concho,
That's the message.
thank you very, very, very much.
It's my pleasure, and I couldn't have had a better time. I can't thank you enough. This was an amazing
Incredible
experience.
conversation.
You were fantastic, as
So were you.
always.
It's been 2 hours.
And really?
Yeah. We began at 12.
Oh, my God. Okay. It went by quickly.
It flew by.
It went by quickly.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But I got to tell you, before we go,
Please.
I'm going to
Give me. Yep.
return this to you.
Yep.
Before we go, I can't leave without thanking Max.
I agree.
Okay. Max is amazing. He's talented. He's quick. He's resourceful. He provided me with information, instantaneously. I didn't even have to ask for it. I had wondered on certain things. I didn't know how to do certain things. He explained them to me quickly, easily. And best of all, he's young. And the reason I say best of all, in him, I see, when I was young, I should have been that good looking.
You had the hair.
Yeah, he's really amazing, and
Thank you. I agree.
You're surrounded by an incredible individual. My compliments to you. You attract really talented people.
Thank you, Concho. I agree. Max is incredible. Thank you, Max. Concho, do me a favor, please. Look at the camera. Let the people know where they can find you. Your Facebook, LinkedIn, website, whatever you want to share.
Okay. I think Facebook is Henrio, HNRIOH, at Facebook or something.
I'll make
like
sure
that.
to add all the links below.
Yeah. My email, tizef1@gmail.com. YouTube, I don't know. It's probably at Henrio YouTube or something like that. Instagram, I don't know. Hashtag Henrio, something like that.
Don't worry about it. We're going to get it, put all the links
right.
below.
But what I can tell you is, look me up. You can't reach me. Contact Leo, leopodcast.com. That's the way to go. If there's any podcast to watch, it's his. Tons of information. A lot of individual with real life success stories. No nonsense. People who have come, many from nothing, but have built themselves into a commodity, and some who have actually built an empire. Don't miss it. You'll get all the information for success at leopodcast.com. Listen, I'm not being paid for this. Leo didn't tell me to say it. I'm saying it because I had an incredible conversation with him where really I heard things that were simply amazing. He provided me with so much information, things that really I should have acquired along the way, but never captured on. But he presented these things in such a methodological way, and in such a really clear format that it consolidated and clarified things for me mentally on how I could proceed forward. And interestingly enough, he told me that he's actually going to present this to me in a written format so that I could have it and that I could follow it and I could contact him anytime for help and for support. So I've been with different individuals who claim to provide information, support, and what you do, you end up being able to chat electronically. Impossible to get them. You get to an assistant, or if they're available, it's in a week or 2 weeks. You got to get an appointment. Leo is right there to provide that assistant within 7 hours or less. So if you want to follow up podcasts, this is the one to do. Nowhere else to go. Again, nothing is being solicited. I'm telling you this from real life experience that I had after dealing with Leo. This is now about a month or so that we've been communicating in podcast, and I'm telling you, it's life-changing, it's business-changing. You can't go wrong. If there's any place that you should come to for life coaching, for business success or recommendations, for consultantship in entrepreneurship, this is the place to come. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you come and visit my channel, communicate, contact me for any information. I'll be glad to answer your call, your questions, or provide any guidance possible, or share more stories with you.
Max, we're going to clip that and put that everywhere. That was incredible.
Thank you so much.
Concho,
My
thank
pleasure.
you so much.
My pleasure.
I hope you
Anytime.
guys were able to feel his power, feel his energy, learn from his wisdom and his stories and his messaging and his life experience. Go follow Concho. Go to his YouTube. Contact him. Interact with him. Learn from someone who is the real deal. Someone who's been through it all. Someone who's achieved the maximum level of success within himself, within spirituality, within his body, within his mind. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.